encouraging things for me has been the virtual Sunday gatherings. It just created a sense of normalcy, and I didn't expect to leave the city during quarantine, but ended up down in Atlanta, and it just gave me a way to still feel connected to the city, even though I was far away. And also just the time and space of quarantine and having time to just sit with the Lord and process through things and kind of revisit what your priorities are, I think was just really healing, and something that Debbie and I were just talking about, it's something that we want to leave quarantine with.
So I think initially, because obviously moving here, everything was so crazy, so life was very busy, and then coming to the city, I got to experience New York initially in all of its buzz, which was amazing, and then there was nothing, and I think that's when it probably stuck out the most that I was quite alone in the city, which was, I guess, a bit daunting at times. But I met Laura through my community group, which was awesome, and even though she left the city, we were able to stay in touch, and also another friend of ours, Janelle, was the same. And then doing the class Race and Kingdom of God course, I met Jeannie, which was really awesome. So there's been these great connections throughout, which I feel has allowed me to feel connected. Obviously, having time with family and friends via FaceTime or Zoom's been really great too. And then also the quiet, to be with myself and God, and thinking through those areas that I can be working on in this quiet period, which has been really great, even though there's been some tough kind of challenges along the way. It's been great. So for an extrovert, finding her inner introvert has been a really interesting process, and I've really loved the stillness. It's been kind of great, and I'm, like Laura said, I hope some of those things continue as we do get back to normal, to not get caught up in the busyness of life, not to try and fill every area, but to be able to be still and enjoy each season with the fullness that we should be.
I think when I first moved here, I wanted community group, and I met them 2 weeks before the pandemic started. And so I think that's a blessing, because I met up with them twice a week, and on average twice a week. And I don't know how, but we were able to build a relationship through Zoom calls weekly. So I think that's really cool. And they've been very encouraging and supportive. That was, I think, being close to God was one of my biggest fears to coming to a big city like New York City. And so that's probably been the biggest blessing during the pandemic.
I think also that God has used this season of quarantine and coronavirus and just the issues around racial injustice just to stir up my heart for New York again, to just remind me of his compassion for this city and his love for the people here.
Hi, my name is Natalia. I'm from Bogota, Colombia, and I'm currently here doing a master's program. Ever since the pandemic started, I think God has encouraged me in many ways. I think my group, my community group, has been kind of like a testament of God being in my life and guiding me through those people that have been so loving and so supportive during this time. So I think that's a really big way that He has encouraged me, just seeing Him in others and feeling His support through others.
So one of the things that I feel like has been happening for me over these past months is really seeing those scriptures take place in a bigger context, right? And so it's there's a part of it, it's like, yes, I believe, but it's like, no, do I really believe? John did a message on defiant joy in the time of despair, and that was one of those things. It's like, no, do I really experience joy, right? Do I really have this? And so I've been looking at joy, and I've been looking at hope, and I've been looking at God's unfailing love. I've been looking at how much we can trust Him, and just getting these things. It's like, no, really, really getting these things down in my heart.
And while we know that a lot of people struggle during this time, and we feel for them, we felt that God provided for us in such a supernatural and powerful way to make it possible for us to move into our new apartments and be close to community. We're literally a block away from some of our best friends, and that has been such a gift. That is just why we are in New York. We are here to see the kingdom of God and to do it not on our own, but to partnership with community.
Yeah, One of the most important things in our lives is relationships. The people that we know, the people we do life with, the people that we call family here in the city. And in a time when it could have been a lot of isolation and loneliness, I have to say and give God the credit that this was a time where we found people to do life with, even digitally, and we were able to go deeper than I think we've gone with most of our kind of core circle of friends, even when a lot of those people have left the city, they've not been around here physically, but we've still been able to stay in touch. And I just feel like God's knit our hearts together with them so that at the end of this, when things start to become a little bit more normal, I feel like we're gonna have running mates and we're gonna have a sense of loyalty and connectedness that we didn't have before. So I just know that that was God setting us up for success.